Okay, so like I mentioned in the beginning of this series, what we have are some columns that do not have the representative data type. So we have issue date here, and it is captured here in a text column. And so I said I did this on purpose, and that was because we did not want our SQL editor or our database engine going and making a guess as to what the format of the date was. And so if you look at the very first one, it's easy to tell, okay, the '07, well, that could be a date or a month. But when we look at the second column, we see, okay, 19, well, that can only be a day as there's no 19th month. And then the last column is easy to see that that's a year. But let's look at the very next row here. And so we have '08, which could be a month or a year, and then '09, which could also be a month or a year. And so you can see how SQL might get confused if this is the first thing it comes across and it doesn't exactly know how you intended the date to be stored. So that was the problem that we were trying to avoid by having issue date as an imported as text. And so what we do from this position here is, one, we never want to mess with the original data, because if we go back, we want to see if there's a problem somewhere. We want to try to figure out what caused that problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to add a column. So that is alter table. We need to say what table we are going to alter. Permits, and we want to add column. And so I will go and say issue date, and I'll just call it issue date too. There's probably a better thing we can call it, but for right now, this is what I want to do. Okay. So, syntax error. Let's see. What? Oh, of course. So it caught me here and said I'm doing something wrong, and of course what it is missing, we have a column name, but I didn't tell it what kind of data I wanted to store in that column. So if we just add date here, SQL should stop being mad at me. There we go. It is no longer mad. Thank you. So let's now look at a couple of things. So we have a column select, we have issued date, so that was the original column, and so right now it is in text format. Issued, two D's in there, issued date 2, and then I want to just see if my function that I looked up for this is working correctly. So before I update, so we have issued date, and actually that issue date is, let's try it this way, 2 underscore date. So this is a function, and so in the function what I am looking to do is tell it what the input of the function is, and so it is this issued date, and it knows that it is a text, because that is the purpose of this function, is to take text to date. And then I need to tell it what the format of the date information is. And to figure out how I get here, I literally just Googled uh, PostgreSQL change text to date. And then PostgreSQL has really good documentation, and so I use that. And so we are now experimenting with this. And so let's see, from bi underscore permits, and again we're going to want to put a limit on it, because all we want to do is see a couple of records here and see if it is doing what I think it is doing. Okay, so issue date 2 null. That is what I expected, because we haven't put anything in there. We just created the column. And so let's see. So we have the issue date, and so this is in text format, and now this one is in date format. And so what happened? So the standard formatting here is year first, followed by month, followed by day. And we can see over here, year first, followed by month, followed by day. So I don't see anything crazy going on. We'll just do a couple more spot checks here. 1998, 1998, 03, 03, 25, 25. Yep, that one is working. So now I am reasonably confident that this function is doing what I believe it should be doing, which is taking this issue date as a text column and transforming it into a date column using this format. And again, we did it this way because of this part of the function here, where I could tell it what to expect when, what format the date was going to come in as, and then SQL could format it to its standard formatting, as you see here. So I'm going to erase everything except for this function over here, because this is what I want. So let me go over here and erase the beginning part of this. So since we have a column and it already exists there, we're not altering the table anymore now. What we want to do is update the table, and specifically we want to update one column to have information from another column. So we want to update that issue date 2 to have proper date information from the issue date that's text column. So with that in mind, our SQL statement is update. Then we have to have the name of the table, building inspection permits. Then we want to set issue date 2, so that's the column we just created that can hold date information, and I'm going to set it equal to my toDate function. So this is a function that takes as an input text that is in this format, and what this function returns is a date. And so that's how this SQL statement works. And so let's go ahead and run it. All right, it's good. It is always good when your SQL statement does not come back and yell at you. So select, and so what I'm doing here is just double checking my work. You know, is this something I can believe is occurring the way that I think it should be occurring? So from there we go. So we're going to select those two columns again and take a look at them. So we have our select statement here. We're doing the limit 50 because there are 80 some thousand rows here, and we don't want to overstress our PostgreSQL, and I'm really lying there. PostgreSQL can handle millions of records. I've actually done something like that before and just tried to import about 9 million records, and it worked. So what I'm really doing by the limit is, this kind of query takes about 11 milliseconds. It might take a second or two if I did not have that limit. So all I'm doing here is doing just spot checking. So the first one, we have month, day, year, and the standard SQL is year, month, day. That one occurred. So we can't tell anything from when the month and the day are the same because we don't know if it got that screwed up. So let's check another one. Let's look at 2001, and then it's a month of 02, and then it's a day of 05. Okay, so that looks good. So now we've transformed that column. The next thing we need to do is take a look at the money column.